All right, there's a whole lot of weather to talk about. Let's get straight to it. There haven't been any changes to our winter weather alert maps. Northwest Arkansas under a winter storm warning. We maintain a winter weather advisory in the River Valley. Could the National Weather Service upgrade parts of the River Valley to that warning? Yes, it's certainly a real possibility. We'll keep you posted should that take place. Here's the latest snow projections. There have been some minor changes to this map. Let's walk through it. First in Northwest Arkansas, I think this is really where we have our highest potential to have some significant snow totals. 8 to 12 inches. And look, I got a plus sign there. There's probably going to be an isolated area wherever we see a heavier snow band set up that exceeds 12 inches. Now, is that going to be common? I don't necessarily think so, but there very well could be some isolated spots. In parts of Washington, Madison County, 4 to 8 inches. Now, the change here is earlier I was thinking 4 to 6. I've increased us to about 4 to 8. I'll tell you, I think a lot of us trending closer to 8 across parts of Washington and Madison County. Again, it's a range. Not everyone gets 8. Not everyone gets 4. Sometimes we fall right in between. And sometimes that can even vary from town to town, from one side to the other. So it's a range for a reason. I do think it's possible we get the elevation in parts of northern Crawford, Franklin, and Johnson counties. We're still within that 4 to 8. But there's probably going to be somewhat of a sharper drop off once we get into the River Valley. With that said, we factor in the sleet and the snow. 2 to 5 inches between Sallisaw and Clarksville. I got a text from my doctor in Clarksville earlier and said, what's going to happen? Things are going to start off as sleet and eventually it's going to transition over into snow by the early afternoon into the evening hours. A trace to 2 inches still appears likely. Scott, southern Logan, southern Sebastian, and probably southern LeFlore County. If anything, we still do see that potential of a light glaze of ice initially before things slowly make that transition over. It's going to look a lot like this. Let's begin here at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. We've got some scattered sleet across northwest Arkansas, some scattered light rain, which is probably going to develop into that freezing rain here in the River Valley. We go a little bit further. Things are transitioning as that cold air really starts to build into the area by 9 o'clock. That's going to make everything snow more than likely across Benton and Carroll, even parts of northern Washington and Madison counties. Meanwhile, you see that line there? That's the line of transition. Everything else in pink is going to be that sleet. And it's going to take a little bit longer for that line to make its way further south. But new this evening, new from the 6 o'clock newscast, is it looks like that transition may happen a little bit sooner. This is lunchtime. Widespread precipitation at that point. At noon, pretty much all bets are off. It's not necessarily going to be the best to be out on those roadways, but slowly but surely things are transitioning over into a snow by 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. Still looking at sleet. Notice the temperatures. Quite a bit of a difference. You go from the teens and low 20s, so everything that's hitting the road is sticking. It's slicker than snot out there. Here in the River Valley, we're hovering right around that freezing mark, maybe a degree or two below. But with the heavy rate of that sleet, it's very likely there's going to be some slick spots widespread across the River Valley as well. 8 p.m. tomorrow evening, that transition line's pushing a little bit further towards the south. We're starting to end this event with snow showers. By midnight tomorrow night, things are tapering from the west to the east. Light snow may very well continue through sunrise on Wednesday, but we're not going to be adding any additional accumulations, maybe a few of those light flurries at best. Travel impacts tomorrow. First part of the morning is going to be okay, so maybe you got to run a couple of errands. Boy, wake up at sunrise, no later than that, because things are going to start to turn pretty quickly, especially across northwest Arkansas where those temperatures are going to be lower. Anything that hits is going to start to get pretty slick. It might take an hour or two longer in the River Valley, but I can certainly guarantee you by noon, roads are going to be impacted without question. Not only are roads going to get slick, but you've got some visibility issues as well. Winds are going to get pretty breezy out there. Look, we're not looking at a blizzard. We're not looking at a whiteout, but that wind blowing that sleet and that snow around 20 to 30 miles per hour, it's going to be tough to see out there. In addition to the fact that you're probably going to be slipping and sliding. The snow, the sleet, the potential for a little bit of rain, freezing rain, that's one issue. Then we've got the second. This is a true 1-2 punch, a double whammy, whatever you want to call it. Cold Arctic air. Once temperatures drop below freezing tonight, and for many of us that's already below freezing, we probably won't warm above freezing until Saturday. So it's going to be very dangerous. We're talking extreme cold. This is an extreme cold warning in effect for all of northwest Arkansas, a good majority of the River Valley. You may never have heard of an extreme cold warning. All it is what used to be called a wind chill advisory. They changed the name to make it more clear, to make it more understandable. That's all it is. We're looking at wind chill values as low as -20 on Thursday morning, northwest Arkansas, as low as 10 below across the River Valley. dangerously cold temperatures. Your 10-day forecast calls for a weather impact alert Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Of course, tomorrow it's the precip, but by Wednesday and Thursday it's the temperatures. If you're looking for some warmer weather, and boy, let me tell you, I certainly am, you only need a little bit of patience, believe it or not. And of course, you're going to believe it because this is just the way we do weather around Arkansas and Oklahoma. By Monday of next week, we're going to be in the 60s, and perhaps in the River Valley, we might even squeeze out some mid to upper 60s a few days. Things certainly look to be a little bit more quiet in the long range. This, though, a very high impact event, even in the River Valley where numbers may not be as high, given the temperatures, roads are going to be slick. Temperatures are going to be dangerous. It's high impact no matter what number you see on the map.